I never thought being married to someone so different from me would become such a challenge. When we first met a decade ago, I was already the social butterfly, always eager to meet new people, make connections, and spend time with friends. My wife was quieter, more reserved, but back then it seemed like a perfect balance. You know how they say opposites attract? Well, we were living proof of that, at least in the beginning. Over the years, I've watched as my wife's dislike for social interaction has grown from a personality quirk into something that's starting to affect our daily lives. It's not just that she prefers staying home, she actively dislikes people, and sometimes it feels like she takes pride in making others dislike her too. Every time she meets someone new, it's like she's on a mission to find something wrong with them, searching for hidden motives or flaws that often aren't even there. I remember this one time when my college friend Sarah and her husband moved to our city. I was thrilled. They're the kind of people who light up a room, and I thought maybe, just maybe, this could be our chance to finally have that couple friendship I'd always hoped for. Sarah and my wife even shared similar interests in books and music. Perfect match, right? Wrong. Before even meeting them, my wife had already decided she didn't like Sarah, calling her taste in books trash and dismissing any possibility of friendship. For years, I've managed this delicate dance, maintaining my social life while giving my wife the space she needs. It worked, more or less. I'd go out with friends while she stayed home, and occasionally she'd join me for important events. But then the pandemic hit, and everything changed. Her company went remote, and while most people struggle with isolation, my wife embraced it like a long-lost friend. She turned our home into her fortress, venturing out only when absolutely necessary. Now she barely leaves the house except for errands, and even then, usually only with me. Her old friends, the few she had, have become nothing more than names on a phone screen. They live just minutes away, but she hasn't seen them in years. It's like watching someone slowly build walls around themselves, brick by brick, and I'm starting to wonder if I'm on the wrong side of those walls. The hardest part isn't even her refusal to socialize. It's the constant negativity that seems to seep into everything. These days, I find myself walking on eggshells in our own home, trying to gauge her mood before speaking. Remember when conversations with your spouse used to flow easily? Now every suggestion about meeting people or trying something new is met with sharp resistance and criticism. I know deep down that she's not doing this out of malice. Sometimes when I watch her react so strongly to simple social suggestions, I wonder if there's something deeper at play, some fear or past hurt that she's never shared. But understanding where it comes from doesn't make it any easier to live with. The woman I married was reserved but kind. Now, it feels like I'm watching her transform into someone who finds comfort in disliking others, and it's starting to give me this uncomfortable feeling in the pit of my stomach. The tension in our home has become almost tangible. There are days when the air feels heavy with unspoken words and simmering frustrations. I catch myself thinking back to the early days of our relationship, trying to pinpoint when exactly things started to shift. Was it gradual like watching the seasons change? Or did I just miss the warning signs, too busy being the social butterfly to notice my partner retreating further into her cocoon? Last week really opened my eyes to how serious things have become. I had invited Sarah and her husband over for dinner, nothing fancy, just a casual evening at home where my wife would feel comfortable in her own space. I thought maybe, in the familiar setting of our dining room, she might finally give them a chance. I spent the whole day cooking her favorite meal, hoping it would help her feel more at ease. But 2 hours before they were supposed to arrive, she locked herself in our bedroom, claiming she had a headache. I knew it wasn't true. I could hear her typing away on her laptop, probably working even though it was Saturday. I ended up calling Sarah and making up an excuse about a family emergency. The look of disappointment on my face must have been obvious because my wife didn't even look at me when she finally came out of the bedroom. That night, as we lay in bed not talking, I started thinking about all the friendships and connections we've missed out on because of her attitude. My friend Tom and his wife Amy have invited us to countless game nights. My coworker Jake and his partner always save us spots at their summer barbecues. Even my sister's weekly family dinners have become a solo activity for me. Each time, I make excuses for my wife's absence, but I'm running out of believable ones. The isolation is clearly taking its toll on her too, though she won't admit it. Her irritability has reached new heights. The other day, she spent 20 minutes ranting about how our neighbor's kid was deliberately bouncing his basketball too loudly. When I suggested that maybe he was just being a normal kid, she gave me a look that could freeze hell over. It's exhausting being around someone who's constantly looking for reasons to be angry at the world. Working from home has only made things worse. She used to at least have casual conversations with her coworkers, even if they were just about work. Now, she avoids even virtual team meetings when she can, claiming they're a waste of time. Her world has shrunk to the size of our house, and she seems determined to make it even smaller. I've tried everything I can think of. I've suggested therapy, both individual and couples, but she dismisses the idea immediately. I don't need someone poking around in my head, she says. I've tried organizing small, controlled social situations, quiet dinners with just one other person, afternoon coffee with her old friend from college, even suggesting we take a cooking class together. Each suggestion is met with either outright rejection or a convenient excuse. The irony is, when she does occasionally agree to join me somewhere, she can be charming when she wants to be. Last month, we had to attend a wedding of a close family member, one of those occasions she couldn't avoid. For those few hours, I saw glimpses of the woman I fell in love with. She made polite conversation, even laughed at a few jokes. But the moment we got home, she was back to complaining about how fake everyone was and how glad she was that was over. Sometimes I wonder if I'm being unfair. Maybe this is who she's always been, and I'm the one who's changed. But then I remember how she used to be quiet and reserved, yes, but not bitter. Not angry. She used to be able to find joy in small things, even if large social gatherings weren't her thing. Now it feels like she's determined to find the worst in everything and everyone. The most painful part is watching her push away her own friends. Lisa, her best friend from college, lives just 15 minutes from us. They text occasionally, but my wife hasn't seen her in person for 3 years. When Lisa had her baby last year, my wife didn't even want to do a video call to see the newborn. I'll see pictures on Facebook, she said, as if that was the same thing. I saw the hurt in Lisa's messages after that, and it broke my heart knowing my wife was pushing away someone who truly cared about her. Recently, I've started to feel something I never thought I would feeling about my own wife. It hits me most when she's in the middle of one of her rants about other people. Last night, she spent an hour criticizing our new neighbors before she'd even met them, just because they had the audacity to play music while moving in. I caught myself physically cringing as she went on, and that scared me. When did her negativity start making me feel this way? When did I start dreading coming home to my own wife? I love her, that hasn't changed. But loving someone and being able to live with them happily are two different things. The constant cloud of negativity is starting to affect my own outlook on life. I've always been the type of person who gets energy from being around others, who sees the good in people. Lately, though, I've caught myself becoming more cynical, more guarded. It's like her darkness is slowly seeping into my light, and I don't know how to stop it. The other day, Sarah asked me point blank why my wife hates her so much. I had no answer. How do you explain to someone that they're hated simply for existing? For enjoying books that my wife deems beneath her? For wanting to be friends? I made up some excuse about her being shy, but Sarah's not stupid. She could see right through it. The look of hurt and confusion on her face made me realize how much this situation affects not just me, but everyone around us. I've started dreaming about a different life, one where I don't have to constantly choose between my wife and my friends. One where I can host dinner parties without walking on eggshells. One where my partner might not be the life of the party, but at least doesn't actively try to ruin everyone else's good time. Then I feel guilty for having these thoughts. Isn't marriage about accepting each other, flaws and all? But this feels bigger than just accepting flaws. I worry about our future. What if we have kids? How would they develop healthy social skills with a mother who hates everyone? Will they grow up thinking it's normal to be suspicious of everyone, to look for the worst in people? The thought keeps me up at night. I know I need to have a serious conversation with her. Not just about the socializing, but about how her negativity is affecting our relationship. How it's changing the way I see her. How I'm starting to feel lonely even when we're in the same room. But I'm scared. Scared that bringing it up will make things worse. Scared that she'll see it as an attack rather than a cry for help. Most of all, I'm scared that she won't want to change, that this is who she truly wants to be. Sometimes, in rare quiet moments when she's relaxed and her guard is down, I see flashes of the woman I married. The one who used to laugh at my bad jokes, who could spend hours talking about books she loved instead of just criticizing what everyone else reads. The one who might not have loved socializing, but didn't hate it either. I miss her. I miss us. For now, I'm stuck in this limbo, trying to balance my need for social connection with my wife's growing hatred of humanity. I still go out with friends, still maintain my relationships, but it feels incomplete, like I'm living half a life. Every time I come home from a fun evening out, instead of being able to share stories and laugh together, I'm met with silence or sarcastic comments about how wonderful it must be to waste time with people. I don't know what the future holds for us. I want to believe we can find a middle ground, that with enough love and patience, we can work through this. But as I watch her withdraw further into her shell of negativity, I can't help but wonder, is love enough? Can two people who see the world so differently really build a life together? Or am I just delaying the inevitable, hoping for change that might never come? The weight of these questions gets heavier every day. And as I sit here, watching my wife find new reasons to hate the world from behind her laptop screen, I realize that something has to give. I just don't know if it will be her walls or our marriage.